Okay, so this video is teaching you how to regenerate or warm up a dish from cold to ready for service. You're not going to have to build the dish. You'll be given all the ingredients to build the dish, and then basically you'll construct it, put it in the oven and serve it. This is going to be part of your final exam. So you'll be given these two ingredients to start off with, and this is a piping bag full of Bolognese sauce. This is a piping bag of bechamel or white sauce. You'll have to collect some Lancashire cheese and grate it, and some Parmesan cheese and grate it. You'll also need to collect yourself 3 tubes of this pasta, which is called cannelloni, and an oven-proof dish. So basically, this is a baked cannelloni dish, a regenerated dish. I'm going to construct it, bake it in the oven, and we're going to serve it. We're going to start off by taking our Bolognese sauce, and all I'm going to do is snip off the end of this piping bag. Just be careful because it might become a little bit messy. Okay, so lift that up in the air, and then one by one we're going to take these tubes and fill them. So I start at one end, fill it, so you can see through the pasta that it's full, and then same in all the tubes, halfway on one side, halfway on the other. Make sure it's got plenty in there, and then here we go again, last one. You can see it coming through. And then I'm going to put some extra sauce just around the sides, a little bit around this side as well. Okay, so that we've got a decent covering of sauce on there, because we want to keep the cannelloni tubes, the pasta, we want to keep that moist. Okay, so then we're going to take the bechamel sauce, or the white sauce, as I said. Again, I'm going to snip off the end of the piping bag, and then this part is going to be mainly for covering over the top of our pasta tubes, making sure that everything's really nicely covered in the sauce, because if it's not, it'll become quite dry in the oven and it's not going to be good for presentation or flavour if the pasta is dry. Okay, last bit, we're going to have a mixture of cheeses. So I've got some Lancashire cheese, as I said, a little bit on top, and then we've got some Parmesan cheese, so a nice mixture. Want to have a really cheesy flavour. Pop that all on top, and then I've made a mess of this tray here. Okay, we need to make sure that that's cleaned up, because otherwise that's going to burn in the oven. And then I'm going to take this to the oven, and the oven's preset at 180 degrees. It's going to sit in that oven for about 30 minutes until all this top's really nice and golden brown, and then that should be ready for service. But before we take it out of the oven, we'll check the temperature with a temperature probe, make sure it's achieved 75 degrees in the centre. If it has, we'll take it out, we'll serve it. So our cannelloni has been in the oven now for about 20 minutes, something like that. So I've come over to check it. I've got a temperature probe, which we've used before. up at the oven carefully, let the heat dissipate, and then straight in with the temperature probe, and tells us immediately that the temperature should, oh there we go, 78, 79, so that's definitely hot enough. I'm just checking with the tip of the temperature probe as well whether the cannelloni is still hard or not, and luckily it's quite soft, so that tells me that that's just about ready. So just for presentation, we need to make sure that we get rid of any of these sort of well done parts around the outside, making sure that this is all nice and clean. I've got a plate which I'm going to lift this cannelloni onto once I have cleaned the bowl up, but just making sure that you don't burn yourself when you do this, but we're just breaking away any parts of the side that can be cleaned off. And I'm also going to use a cloth as well, just around this side as well, just being really careful, because this bowl has obviously been in the oven for a number of minutes and is very hot. So I'm quite lucky, I've got fingers that don't feel the heat too much, but your younger fingers may be a little bit susceptible to burns. So that's going to be our finished dish. Really nice colourful topping on top of it. If we had any micro herbs or anything like that to put on top, you could dot some of them around, but they're a little bit scarce at the moment because of our lockdown period. So to me that looks really good caramelised colour. Let's hope the flavour's good, but you're not being judged on the flavour, remember. All you're being judged on is making sure that you can heat it up to the correct temperature, which was 75 degrees, making sure that it's cooked all the way through, and making sure it looks presentable on the plate.